There is a cook in our area. She cooks the best meals. All the men in our community would line up in her restaurant just to buy from her. The queue would be long and endless. Customers are forced to wash their own plates if they want to be served, and the cook still charges high. There is something fishy about this cook. She never closes down. Her restaurant is always open. Anytime you walk in, even in the middle of the night, she would have food to sell to you. No one works for her. People wonder how she cooks such a volume of food all by herself. Then one day, this happened.
Hello story lovers, welcome to Nana's Fairy Tales, where we share amazing and interesting stories. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get notified when we upload another enchanting tale.
In a small and cozy village, where the villagers go to their farms in the morning to cultivate the land. Others go for their other businesses. Some children follow their parents to the farm, while others run around and play in the village square. Every morning, you could hear the warm songs of the birds, the thumping feet of those rushing to their farms, the laughter and cries of children running around on every part of the village. In this village is Mama Lisa, the most popular chef and restaurant owner, the best cook ever in the whole community. Mama Lisa is the only person people buy from when they don't have the chance to cook food at home. Some people even stopped cooking at home entirely just to eat at Mama Lisa's restaurant. Many of her competitors have dropped out of the business because of her. She has no friends and no known family. Even the Mama Lisa they call her, no one has ever seen Olisa. She just bears the name. Mama Lisa never visits anyone, nor does anyone visit her. She stays in her restaurant and sells food from dusk to dawn. She shouts at her customers and tells them to form a queue. People that want to buy food from her will stand under the sun waiting for their turn. Mama Lisa cared less about their comfort. Some will stand and eat because there wouldn't be any space for them to sit in the restaurant. Mama Lisa is a very popular woman in the village, but no one knows where she is from. As long as they can remember, she's not a member of the community. She wasn't born there. She isn't married to anyone there. No one knows where she's from. The women in the village have come to her to learn how to cook for their husbands, as their husbands are always seen at Mama Lisa's restaurant, but she kept all of them at an arm's length. No one gets close to her. She doesn't keep any company, nor does anyone assist her in cooking. This made everyone suspicious of her. But everybody moved on, no one questions her. There was a girl in that village named Uche. Uche would always look at Mama Lisa and the people flooding her restaurant. She would try to understand why customers are being treated badly, yet they would still go back to her. She told her friend one day, Ada, I think that woman Mama Lisa is using juju to cook her food. There is something about her that doesn't seem right. Why would people flood around her every time? They wash their own plates, queue up to get their own food, and some even stand to eat. Where is that done? Her friend just looked at her and said, Uche, let the dead bury the dead. I have no business with Mama Lisa's food. I have eaten it once though, and it was very nice. She really is a good cook, but how does that add money and value to my life? Please, let's go. Uche was not at ease. She pressed on. But do you think that woman is human? Haven't you heard stories of the dead that come back to life, travel to far places and start a new life there? I heard their businesses boom more than that of the living. Ada caught her. Uche, please don't scare me. That is just a myth. Don't even say that again. Uche persisted. But who in this village do you know as her relative or someone that knows her from somewhere? Ada hissed and walked away from her. She said as she was leaving, "Be taking pain relief on another person's headache. Meet me at home." Uche stood there for a while before she left. She knew that all was not well with Mamolisa. She just hasn't found an explanation. It's either the woman is using charm or she is a living dead. But one thing is certain, there is something odd about Mamolisa. One evening, Uche asked her father if he believes in stories about living dead. Uche's father answered her yes. He told her about a family member of theirs that was found in another city years after his passing. According to Uche's father, most of these living dead are people that never accomplished their life purpose or people that died untimely. He told her that their relatives that died many years ago was found years after his death selling groundnuts in another city. People bought his groundnut as if it was something else. They fought over it, paid in advance for the groundnuts. Then one day, a person in their village that knows about the man's death came to that city and saw him. Immediately he saw him and called his name. He disappeared into thin air. Uche jumped with fright listening to the story. The story sounded so creepy and scary. She muttered to herself, this could be the case of Mamolisa. That woman might have died. One day, Uche went to Mamolisa's restaurant. She stood at a distance watching people blow themselves, fight, quarrel, struggle for kill just to buy food from her. Not even as if the food is sold for less money. Mamolisa charges more than anyone else, so why are they still all over her? She went close to where Mamolisa was serving food, went through the bag and peeped into her pot of food. She discovered something shocking. The pot was empty, yet Mamolisa is always getting food out. She cleaned her eyes, looked into the pot again and discovered that it was empty. Uche ran. She ran to the king and told him that Mamolisa, the village popular cook, is using charm to serve people food. That there is no food in her pot, yet she serves people food. The king looked at this child and ordered his guards to go and find out what the child was saying. They followed Uche to Mamolisa's restaurant. They ordered her to open her pot. Mamolisa hesitated for a moment, but later opened it. When the guards looked into her pot, they found that it was full of delicious soup. They asked for some portion of the soup. She gave them the one to send to the king. The guards went home that day and conveyed the message to the king. The king ate the food, and from that day, even the king joined the queue to drag food. Uche was so confused. She knew what she saw. She can't just explain the whole thing. She had to leave, let it slide, and move on. After some time, someone began to assist Mamolisa in her shop. A young girl that would be about 12 years old. She helps her serve food to her customers. Uche tried to make that girl her friend, but the girl kept distance. She doesn't talk to anyone. She just dishes the food and collects money. No one knows her name. They just call her Mamolisa's girl. One afternoon, as Mamolisa was busy serving people in her restaurant, a pregnant woman came to buy. The woman kept staring at Mamolisa. She stared and stared. The face looked so familiar to her. When she got close to where Mamolisa was serving food, she called her Madam Obi. Mamolisa looked at her with shock and asked her, "How do you know me?" The woman exclaimed with excitement, "I know you. You used to sell food in Eerie before you just disappeared. I don't know where you've been. All your customers have been looking for you." Mamolisa smiled and said to her, "Chai, my dear, I had to relocate. Things were not going easy for me there and I had to change location." They talked for a while and the woman left. As the woman was leaving, she kept feeling goosebumps all over her body. She wondered what could be wrong. She had heard that Madam Obi died in a motor accident. Now, here is she selling food in a faraway land. One afternoon, Teresa, the pregnant woman who saw Mamolisa and recognized her as Madam Obi, saw Madam Obi's younger sister, who used to help Madam Obi, now Mamolisa, sell food in her restaurant on the Navy. She ran and said to her, "Okay, I saw your big sister, Madam Obi, that one you sell food with here in Eerie. Oge turned and looked at her in shock. You saw who? Madam Obike. Where? My sister died a long time ago, and my family have cried and forgotten about her. Please don't remind us of that pain. We've long forgotten it. Teresa looked at her and said, I'm sure of what I'm saying. We even exchanged pleasantries. I called her by her name, Madam Obi, and she answered. She's now called Mama Lisa in that new community. Ogi walked out on her, ran home and told everyone in her family what Teresa had said. Their father shook his head and said, Chai, my daughter has been forced out of this world, that she can't help it but come back again and be a dead among the living. They invited Teresa and she told them the same story she told Ogi. They told her to take them to the place where she saw their daughter, and she agreed. They started their journey. When they got to Mama Lisa's restaurant, they met a large queue just as Teresa has explained to them. They stood at a distance looking, but they couldn't see the person selling the food. They went close to where she was serving the food and met her busy, bent over her pot of food, dishing out food to her customers. Her family was dumbfounded. They were looking at her silently, watching quietly for a while, until Oge couldn't take it anymore. She burst into tears and called her by her name, Sister Ebere. Mama Lisa's spoon fell off her hand. She recognized the voice. She looked at Ogi and immediately she vanished into thin air. Just then, commotion was all that was left. All the people on the queue took to their heels. They ran to different directions and some fell on each other. The news traveled the whole community that their popular chef is a living dead. When Uche heard the news, she screamed, I said it. That woman isn't ordinary. Hey, it now makes sense. I was convinced something was definitely wrong with that woman. There was something fishy and odd about her that I couldn't place my hands on. From that day onwards, the villagers became scared and never bought food or ate from any stranger. But there was a question that no one has answered, and that was, would anything happen to those customers of Mama Lisa who has been eating her food? Would they die? Would they fall sick? Would they be seeing spirits? Or would they remain normal human beings? Do not forget to tell us what you think. Thank you for listening to this amazing story. I hope you enjoyed every bit of it. Do not forget to drop your thoughts, tell us what you think about the story, and always come back for more. We have lots of interesting stories for you. See ya!